أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Surah 70, Al-Miraj. Title. Its title is taken from the word Miraj, which occurs in the surah's 3rd verse. Period of revelation. In light of its contents, it appears that it must have been revealed in the same period as Surah Al-Haqqah. Subject matter and themes. This surah warns those unbelievers who make fun of tidings about the last day, the hereafter, and paradise and hell. They used to challenge the Prophet, peace be upon him, to hasten the chastisement of the last day, if he were true, and questioned if they deserved to be consigned to the hellfire. The whole surah is a rejoinder to their challenge. At the outset, it is affirmed that as the unbelievers seek to hasten divine punishment, they are destined to undergo it. Once it overwhelms them, no one will be able to protect them from it, but it will only strike them at the appointed hour. It may take some time, but they are bound to be justly recompensed for their unbelief. The Prophet, peace be upon him, is advised to bear with their mockery. Divine chastisement is imminent and at hand, although the unbelievers regard it as far off and remote. As the unbelievers make the last day the butt of their jokes, they are told that it is something awesome and horrendous. The sinners will undergo a real ordeal. In desperation, they will be willing to offer their own wives, children, and kith and kin in ransom in order to escape divine punishment. However, nothing will avail to avert their punishment. Mankind is told clearly that on the day of judgment, everyone's fate will be decided when their articles of faith, morals, and manners, and record of deeds are accounted for. Those who disregarded the truth and hoarded wealth will deserve hellfire, and, in contrast, those who feared God and His chastisement, believed firmly in the afterlife, offered prayers regularly, helped the poor from their income, shunned evil, honored their trusts, kept their word, and testified to the truth, will get an exalted place in paradise. Finally, the Meccan unbelievers who throng to mock the Prophet, peace be upon him, are warned that if they do not give up, God will replace them with another people. The Prophet, peace be upon him, is advised not to bother with their ridicule. If they are keen to be disgraced in the hereafter, he should leave them alone to their vain pursuits, for soon they shall confront a horrible end.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سأل سائل بعذاب واقع.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. A beseecher besought the visitation of chastisement. As to the opening words of the surah, Sa'ala Sa'il, some commentators of the Quran take these in the sense of asking a question. For them, the thrust of the verse is that someone asked the question about the promised divine punishment, as to who it will befall. To this, God replies that His chastisement will befall the disbelievers. However, most of the commentators construe the question in the sense of the disbelievers throwing a challenge about divine punishment. Nasai and other hadith scholars have cited the following report narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas. Hakim bears out the authenticity of this report. Nadir ibn Harith Kalada had demanded, "O God, if this indeed be the truth from you, then rain down stones upon us from heavens, or bring upon us a painful chastisement." Surah Al-Anfal 8:32. At several other places, the Quran has recounted this challenge thrown by the Meccan disbelievers, that they asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, to bring upon them the chastisement which he used to warn them of.
لِلْكَافِرِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُ دَافِعٌ.
A chastisement meant for the unbelievers, one which none can avert.
مِنَ اللَّهِ ذِي الْمَعَارِجِ.
A chastisement from Allah, the Lord of the ascending steps. Miraj is the plural of Miraj, which means the ascending steps or a staircase. That Allah is the Lord of the ascending steps underscores His exalted glory, for even the angels have to ascend considerably to gain access to Him, a point elaborated in verse 4 of this surah.
تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة
by which the angels and the Spirit ascend to him in one day, the duration of which is 50,000 years. The word Ruh, the Spirit, denotes here Gabriel, who is mentioned independently from the angels on account of his high position. Other Quranic descriptions of Gabriel are as follows. Indeed, this is a revelation from the Lord of the universe, which the truthful Spirit has carried down to your heart. Surah Al-Shu'ara 26, 192-194. And say, whoever is an enemy to Gabriel should know that he revealed this Quran to your heart by Allah.
فَمَالِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا قِبَلَكَ مُهْطِعِينَ
But what is the matter with the unbelievers who are hurrying towards you? But what is the matter with the unbelievers who are hurrying towards you? This refers to those unbelievers who, whenever they heard the Prophet, peace be upon him, recite the Quran or saw him invite people to embrace his teachings, rushed towards him, subjecting him to ridicule and banter.
عن اليمين وعن الشمال عزين
In crowds, both on the right and on the left.
أيطمع كل امرئ منهم أن يدخل جنة نعيم
Does every one of them wish to enter the garden of bliss?
كلا إنا خلقناهم مما يعلمون
By no means. They know that which we have created them from.
فلا أقسم برب المشارق والمغارب إنا لقادرون
I swear by the Lord of the Easts and the Wests that we have the power. I swear by the Lord of the Easts and the Wests. The words East and West are used in the plural for good reason. Each day the angle of the rise and setting of the sun varies. Furthermore, the angles at which it rises and sets in different parts of the earth vary. In this sense, there is not one but many easts. There is not one but many wests.
على أن نبدل خيرا منهم وما نحن بمسبوقين
To replace them by others who would be better than they, and we shall certainly not be overpowered.
فذرهم يخوضوا ويلعبوا حتى يلاقوا يومهم الذي يوعدون
So leave them to engage in vain talk and to amuse themselves until they come face to face with the day which they are promised.
يوم يخرجون من الأجداث سراعا كأنهم إلى نصب يوفضون
The day on which they will hastily come forth from their graves, as though they were hurrying onto the altars of their deities.
خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون
Their eyes will be downcast, and disgrace will overwhelm them. Such is the day that they were promised.